y'all grab your popcorn because the drama between A$AP Rocky and Chris Brown is reaching boiling point. The beef between these two superstars isn't just simmering anymore, it's practically exploding, with Chris Brown throwing the absolute mother of all shade at Rocky over his ongoing legal battle. And when I say shade, I mean he is absolutely reveling in the fact that Rocky might be heading to prison for a very, very long time. Now, these two have had bad blood brewing between them for what feels like forever, and you'd think Chris might show just a tiny bit of sympathy considering everything Rocky's going through right now. But no, instead, he's out here taking the cheapest shots possible. Like seriously, the audacity. Let me spill all the piping hot tea about Rocky's trial, because honey, it is not looking good for him. This whole mess stems from that shocking 2021 shooting incident involving his former friend. And now that it's a public trial, we're getting every single juicy detail. Multiple eyewitnesses are coming forward to testify against him, and Chris Brown? He's practically dancing in the streets watching it all unfold. But wait, you're probably wondering why Chris is dragging up this ancient beef and why he's so obsessed with Rocky potentially getting locked up. Well, darling, let me take you on this absolutely wild journey. Everyone and their mother knows about the explosive situation between Rihanna and Chris since that horrific 2009 incident the night before the Grammys. Rocky, being the ride-or-die partner and devoted baby daddy that he is, has been holding on to that grudge like it's his most prized possession. He even went as far as dropping this absolutely savage diss track against Chris in 2022 called DMBB. That's my B, where he straight up called Chris out with those killer lyrics. I don't beat my B, I need my B. The shade of it all had everyone gagging. But here's where things get even juicier. Chris has finally started pushing back hard against the whole narrative about what really went down with Rihanna that night. Remember when Rihanna spilled all the devastating details? She said, and I'm quoting directly here because this is crucial, "I caught him in a lie and he wouldn't tell the truth. I couldn't take that he kept lying to me and he couldn't take that I wouldn't drop it." Then she described how things turned violent, saying she was battered, bleeding, and swollen in the face. Just heartbreaking stuff. For the longest time, Chris just went along with the story about how he lost control when he discovered Rihanna was cheating. But hold on to your wigs because the plot just got thicker than a milkshake. Chris is now coming out with these absolutely explosive revelations, trying to completely flip the script on how everyone sees what happened that fateful night. When he collaborated with Chloe Bailey on How Does It Feel, people came for Chloe's neck for even daring to work with him. And baby, Chris was not about to take that lying down. He went on this absolutely epic rant saying, "If y'all still hate me for a mistake I made as a 17-year-old, please kiss my whole entire, I'm fucking 33. I'm so tired of y'all running with this narrative." But wait, because this tea is about to get even more scalding. There are now reports circulating that Chris actually lost it that night because, prepare yourself, he allegedly discovered that not only was she cheating, but she had given him an STI. And if you think that's shocking, just wait until you hear this. According to Chris, that whole just friends story between Jay-Z and Rihanna, complete and utter fabrication. He's claiming they went to extreme lengths to bury any whispers about a potential fling because, let's be real, it would have been the kind of PR nightmare that could sink careers. The tea gets even hotter, honey. Chris is out here claiming that Jay-Z basically forced him to play the villain role, even though he swears up and down that Rihanna was actually the one at fault. Apparently, Jay-Z was desperate to keep his involvement completely under wraps, because if word got out about Rihanna cheating on Chris, people might start connecting some very uncomfortable dots, leading straight to Jay-Z. And considering he was married to Beyonce, child, that would have been the scandal of the century. Now, I know what you're thinking. Maybe Chris is just trying to salvage his reputation after years of being dragged through the mud for his treatment of women. But hold on to your seats, because Jaguar Wright just entered the chat to back him up.
How long are you guys going to hold on to Chris Brown and beating Rihanna? You know what I'm saying?
I don't understand why people keep talking about that. It was forever ago. They were both very young, and he had just had his first herpes outbreak from her giving him the herpes.
Ooh, my.
Like, how did you know what I mean? Like people don't understand what happened that night. And that's because Jay-Z worked so fucking hard to change the narrative of that night.
The revelations just keep coming. According to these wild claims, Jay-Z worked overtime to completely rewrite the narrative of that night. And then there's this explosive tea about Chris catching Rihanna in some seriously compromising situations at Clive Davis's party.
Jay-Z gave her the herpes that she gave to Chris Brown. And that first night, when he had that outbreak and he busted into Clive Davis's house and said, "Where the f is this dirty at?" I can't fault him for that. He had this is beautiful. Oh, wonderful. Chris Brown, she didn't ruin him. She ruined him at 19 years old. He's got the Jay-Z herpes.
Oh.
And it's unfair. Because now that's a part of his story. And Rihanna ain't innocent. Because she was in there giving that nigga a blowjob in the coat closet when Chris Brown came in. He said, "She always sucking something."
But Jaguar wasn't done spilling the tea. She went on to make these absolutely shocking accusations about Jay-Z and his crew making Chris the fall guy, claiming they were spreading all kinds of fabricated stories in the media to keep the spotlight off their own involvement.
And then they sat there and Jay-Z and them get on the radio and they talk shit about that little fucking boy. And then they put together that whole fucking sham and then have him arrested on the red carpet just to make sure America fucking hated him for fucking defending himself against that crazy fucking, I mean, she's sexy as shit and she's pure whore and pure pussy and she has all of my respect when it comes to the whore game.
Ooh.
But you ruined Chris Brown's life and you knew you ruined his life and the only reason you did it was because your pimp Jay-Z told you to, so that he could cover up the fact that he started f***ing you at 14 when he was damn near 30 years old.
This whole situation is messier than a 2-year-old with finger paint. You've got A$AP Rocky absolutely seething with hatred for Chris over what he did to his woman, while Chris is over here feeling like he's been unjustly condemned by the court of public opinion. These two have been taking shot after shot at each other in their music, so it's absolutely no surprise that Chris is living his best life, watching Rocky's legal drama unfold like a bad soap opera. And can we talk about how Rihanna clearly has a type? Because both these men have had their fair share of legal troubles, and in Rocky's case, it's looking serious. We're talking potentially 24 years behind bars for shooting a friend. Well, former friend. The drama is almost too much to handle. Let me break down this absolute mess for you. Rocky's facing these intense assault charges over this wild incident from 2021 where he allegedly pulled a weapon on A$AP Relly, who used to be part of his inner circle with the A$AP mob crew. Nobody knows exactly what caused their friendship to implode, but what we do know is that things escalated faster than a rocket launch. What started as just heated words turned physical in the blink of an eye, and then boom! Rocky allegedly pulled out a gun, shots were fired, and while Relly thankfully wasn't seriously injured, he did get grazed by a bullet. Relly's legal team is painting this whole thing as a calculated setup. They're saying Rocky lured Relly to meet him somewhere isolated, supposedly to hash things out. But instead, total chaos erupted. In their exact words, unbeknownst to Mr. Efron, A$AP Rocky was not just planning for a conversation and came armed with a semi-automatic. After arriving at the location, a conversation ensued whereby without provocation, warning, or any justification, A$AP Rocky produced the handgun and intentionally fired multiple shots at Mr. Efron. The timing of all this couldn't have been more dramatic. Rocky got arrested at LAX in April 2022, right as he and Rihanna were returning from what should have been a peaceful vacation in Barbados. Picture this heart-wrenching scene. Rihanna, 8 months pregnant, probably floating on cloud 9 about becoming a mom, and then bam! Police swoop in and arrest Rocky right there on the tarmac. Can you even imagine how devastating that must have been for her? Pregnant, vulnerable, and completely blindsided by this absolute nightmare. The LAPD spilled all the tea in their official statement, revealing that everything went down around 10:15 p.m. in the Hollywood area. They tracked Rocky down through some serious detective work, and when they finally got him, it turned into this whole dramatic scene at the airport that could have been straight out of a movie. Now, Rocky didn't stay behind bars for long. He posted that massive $550,000 bail faster than you can say legal trouble. But honey, that was just the beginning of this absolute circus. By August 2022, he was standing in court pleading not guilty, but things have been going downhill faster than a snowball ever since. And get this absolutely wild twist. A$AP Rocky tried to settle things outside of court, but his price tag had everyone's jaws on the floor. He thought Rihanna, with all her billions, would swoop in like a fairy godmother and make it all disappear with her checkbook. But our girl Riri, she wasn't having any of it. According to Media Takeout, she wasn't about to risk losing that B next to her name, even if it meant Rocky might be staring down a decade behind bars. With settlement talks completely dead in the water, this trial is turning into the most intense drama of the year. There's video evidence of Rocky pulling a gun during the fight, and while we can't actually see him pulling the trigger, it's definitely not helping his case with the jury. Plus, Relly is sticking to his story like glue, making it sound like this was all perfectly calculated, not just some heat-of-the-moment situation that got out of hand. The charges are absolutely no joke. We're talking 2 counts of assault with a firearm, which could mean up to 24 years in prison. Rocky's lawyer is trying to stay positive, saying they're ready to fight this thing tooth and nail, but it's been hanging over Rocky, Rihanna, and their entire family's heads like a dark cloud for far too long. And here's another juicy detail. Even though Rihanna isn't directly involved in the case, she's still managing to be front and center. The judge even had to ask about their relationship status and how to refer to her during the proceedings.
The defendant or who his, is it his girlfriend?
His wife. It's his common law wife, Your Honor. They have 2 children together, so
right. So I should characterize it as common law wife?
Or just wife. It's fine. However you like, but yes, they're
No,
not. I mean, they're common law husband and wife.
I'll call
Together.
her whatever you want me to call her. You want wife? Okay.
Sure.
Your Honor, I think if they're not legally married, we prefer that she not be referred to as his wife and that she is just referred to as his significant other or mother of his children.
Are they legally married anywhere?
I don't know.
But here's the gag that had everyone's jaws on the floor. Rocky made this absolutely wild move that nobody saw coming. The prosecution offered him what seemed like a dream of a plea deal. Plead guilty to 1 felony charge, serve 180 days, which would probably end up being more like 90 with good behavior, get 7 years suspended sentence, and 3 years probation. Considering he's facing 24 years, this seemed like a gift wrapped in gold. But Rocky? He said thanks but no thanks, and decided to risk it all with a full trial. To make everything even more dramatic, Relly's testimony was absolutely chilling. He's saying Rocky wasn't just trying to hurt him, he was trying to end his life. The intensity of it all is just overwhelming.
He pointed at me, and then that's when Elijah was like in between, and he's like, I'll kill you right now, pussy, or like whatever, like just was, and then I'm right behind Elijah, and I'm saying, if you brought a gun, use it then. Like, if you brought a gun for a pussy. That's the words I was saying to him.
When you said he pointed at you, where on your body was it pointing?
Like towards my stomach, like towards like my headish a little. Like everything was happening so fast. You know what I mean?
And from what you're describing, was it moving?
Yeah, it was moving. He had it up.
Okay, so he didn't just hold it at your stomach. It was kind of
no. He was looking for a spot to shoot.
Okay.
Like if Elijah wasn't there, I don't know what would happen.
And you said as he was pointing it at you, what did he say?
I'll kill you right now.
And was that in an angry tone?
He did. He was livid.
This whole situation is absolutely wild, and honestly, it's completely baffling why Rocky would risk everything instead of taking that plea deal. He could miss watching his children grow up. We're talking childhood, teenage years, and even part of their adult lives if he gets hit with the maximum sentence. According to all the whispers and rumors floating around, Chris Brown is absolutely living for all of this drama. Everyone always thought he'd be the one ending up behind bars, not Rocky. And to Chris, this is just karma doing its thing in the most spectacular way possible. But while we're all sitting on the edge of our seats waiting to see how this absolutely insane trial plays out, it's looking more and more like Rocky might not be able to dodge jail time on this one. The drama is real, the stakes are higher than ever, and this story is far from over. What do you think about all this absolutely wild tea? Drop your thoughts below and don't forget to check out what's coming up next, because this saga is definitely not over yet.